What's up, y'all? It's me, Tasha C. And in this particular review, I will be reviewing Greenleaf, Season 2, Episode, what is this now, 12? And shout out to my YouTube fam, and let's get into it. I don't usually go in typical order. You know, it's been a minute since I did any Greenleaf reviews, whatever, so I kind of go based on the characters and so forth. So, let's get the Zora and Sophia out the way. Sophia, you know, they got it approved to the court, the debutantes and stuff, right? And they're on their way to the dinner. But before that, Zora did have Isaiah in the house, and he was helping her biology, and he was going to help her, you know, do some biology as far as the science of sex. But you know, they didn't get that far. Kind of like, you know, they were talking, and here's their dad, which we're about to get into it. Now already Jacob has found a discount of $2.99 for some donut holes or something. When he knocked on the door, he noticed, noticed that Isaiah was in the room. He gets Isaiah out the room, basically, like, you know, procedure, something about some donut holes, whatever, and told him basically to leave because we can't buy by my rules, you know, whatever, just go. But it ain't clicking in that already they were working on some biology previously, and so he leaves. But, you know, like I said, it's a bigger issue, but really kind of just getting the Zora thing out the way. They're, you know, going to dinner, you know, the debutante dinner, something like that, her and for Sophia. And she's just trying to, I guess, keep trying to text Isaiah, whatever, and so forth. And when she calls him later on, he basically like, you know what? I don't really want to talk to you. Yeah, whatever. I ain't really trying to talk no way. So we kind of wonder, is she going to start sneaking out the window to see him or skipping school, whatever? Because Zora has already, in the first episode, had Sophia up there. They're up there sniffing Ritalin or what, or some type of medicine, like it's coke or something. So, and smoking weed and everything else. So it's kind of, not to say people can't change before then, but she kind of has been giving us some hint about her behavior, that she was going to first one going to explore possibly territory of sex, you know, not to say automatically it's going to happen, but it's kind of like, to me, that it's not really too much surprising. So yeah, so she kind of is a little heartbroken, even though his red flag was Isaiah, okay, already. But we should see how, excuse me, y'all. So what happened is that we go to another scene. Now we have Skanks. He's up there preaching at one of his sermons, and Doris there, you know, Rick Silver Fox character, you know, is doing interviews, because that's really the only way he deals with churches now, is doing these interviews. And, you know, Skanks is up there preaching about the word, about the Lord, and also brought up, everybody was like with him, and, you know, you love God, you know, people, you can't be judgmental, because some people, you know, you sitting here talking about, you know, how you're supposed to be clean for marriage, and you just came from your boyfriend's house out the bed, or, you know, some about some oysters and shrimps in the Bible, and y'all gonna go all you can eat, or use a discount at Red Lobster before the Crab Fest ends in a couple days, or something. And then he somehow slides in about even loving people, like, you know, of course, it's up to God judge, but, you know, not to push people away because, you know, whether they're gay, straight, you know, whatever, bisexual, whatever, you know, it could be everybody like praying, and, you know, a lot of people's kind of like, but then he kind of sets a little bit tone, and then he kind of brings up the cavalry, of course, like how they're quick enough, you know, how they just hide the issue, don't put on social media or whatever, and don't bring this up, like we're not supposed to sit there and hate people because they're, you know, of their sexuality or anything, or push them aside or make them seem like they're condemned people of God. So after that sermon, there's an article in the paper, Miss Lady named in Pastor Moon. Okay, Pastor Billy D. Williams. I'm just playing. We call that man yet, but we're gonna call him Billy D today. Now they get the paper, and of course this is mentioned about it. Now they feel some type of way, like, okay, he's preaching this, you know, trying to basically call controversy, whatever, in order to think he's, you know, trying to get people to confess, you know, because Skanks, we already know, it's interesting, his last name goes with some skanky behavior, you know, maybe gambling some money, you know, church money away, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so Lady May was never talking to Grace because, you know, Grace feels some type of way like she does want to help. And even though she doesn't really agree with skanks, she agrees about this issue that we shouldn't turn people away just because of their sexuality. And, you know, Pastor Billy D. Williams, I'm horrible to my Pastor Billy D. Williams, also Pastor James. You know, like they feel some type of way, like I said, Skanks is going to set up. Then they also know that they feel and know that Skanks used Jacob as well. They, you know, basically Pastor Billy D. William James is about to go over there and talk to Skanks, all right, about he's sick and tired of this stuff. And because Lady May, like I said, Grace and I were just talking about, you know, basically in a way, be careful of him. You know, because she like this. Ain't nobody paying attention to the article anyway, except the dog on page 10. I guess using it as a bathroom setting, you know, or whatever. Or to fetch as a toy. But they also were saying they noticed, you know, Grace's man, Rick Silver Fox, had something they thought like Carlton, who used to be, you know, the choir director over there, had did an interview as well. And Grace didn't believe, like, no, I don't think he did anything. I don't think he interviewed him at all. Anyway, to continue, and I think that Lady May asked you know, Pastor Deacon Pastor James to call, I think, Juanita or somebody, but she also has connection ties to Rochelle, which when Lady May goes to meet with her later on, you know, she asked about the Rochelle person. She's like, oh, you know, I know about what happened. You know, they try to sometimes say that it's the lady's fault, but, you know, don't mute. Don't, I'm just going to let that be that. And so now that gives more and more questions about why this is going on. Because, you know, now she, you know, Rochelle wants to go and be part of Calvary Church and everything based on skanks, you know, and this, you know, they feel like a carnival. Continue also downfall of, you know, what he's trying to do. And so later on, let's just go to like with Pastor James when he pays a visit to Skanks. And Skanks is talking to, you know, this dude who got on a leather coat, and you know his business when he got leather coat on, and it don't look really cold outside. Everybody is still in spring jackets and stuff, but you know, leather means business and stuff, okay? And he even gave it there like, you know, you still owe me some money. Skank say, yeah, I promise you a certain amount of such. So when Deacon Billy D. William James comes up in there, the guy, you know, he kind of leaves, and he just grims him, and you know, Mr. Jeff Hatch James gives him that look like, okay, I ain't got nothing to do with this. I came to threaten in my own terms. Y'all do that different, okay? I came here to tell him about Psalm 91, all right, about that stuff, okay? Beware of and remove evil and wickedness, and go, I'm going to bring it, okay? And then say in Jesus' name afterwards, okay? So he basically let him know, like, you know, I don't know what stuff you on, but basically stay away from my family with that mess. You know how always, Skanks, you know, always finds a way to be like, you know, I'm not doing anything, blah, 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 and stuff like that, and blah, blah. You know, it's either like this, either people gonna see who you are, or I don't know what you're talking about. Or third, Jesus, God is good all the time. Amen. So it's one of those three. I understand honestly with God because, like I said, it's usually three things that Skank usually goes by. Okay. So, of course, Lady May and Pastor James are trying to figure out what is going on and why, you know, actually, they really left Professor Skanks in their church, whatever, right? So, we got another scene where we got, Jacob has tried to do some rewiring again or something that did not include calling the energy light service department, okay? And, you know, like I said, Clarissa explains it all. It's still feeling some type of way where she's like, okay, we need help wiring. You need to just go ahead and get a job. And he's like, well, calling your God, you know, is my calling. She's like, that's a hobby, okay? Like collecting baseball cards. That is a hobby, all right? You can get a job at the shoe store. You can do something else. You can go Costco, somewhere, okay? Basically, she's like, she makes enough money to pay the bills, but not enough to upkeep everything, which I'm kind of like, okay, whatever. And you know, they're still trying to keep it under wraps, well, at this time, about why they really left Skanks in the first place, and kind of did like this so-called buyout. But in the end, they're kind of just stuck with this money pit, you know, focus on pit, of course. So now we got, like I said, later on, now Grace she did talk to Rick Silver Fox, and it turns out she did find out that he did talk to Claire Clayton, the former pastor director. And she was like, what, I thought we agreed that you weren't going to do that. And she found this out when she decides to babysit Charity's son. Now, by the way, y'all, we still do not know where the hell is Kevin. Where is he? Is he in a cave somewhere? Where the hell is Kevin at? All right. Now, you got Grace up there, got his outreach stuff program, and that's where she's finding pamphlets and stuff. Miss Doreen, you know, was talking to her, and then she asked him, like, a church finger to ask if she had permission to speak. And, you know, Grace is like, I ain't got no problem with you speaking. But she informs her like, you asks her, you know, is she going to preach again? And she like, you know, I don't think so anytime soon. She's just going to work on this out the directory. And then she just, you know, it doesn't call you to be perfect or be a certain time. It has to be, you know, precisely exactly the time the calling is, you know, the word, you know, you don't have to be perfect. You know, even the apostles were not perfect. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that were perfect, but were called for God's calling. You know what I mean? So, or, you know, certain positions where you think like, I have to have this in order to say the word of God, or the message is through you and you feel it is meant through you. Okay. So, and that's the Grace. So I don't know if Grace will go back into, you know, preaching or not. But like I said, so like it's still something with Kevin. Charity, you know, gets a gift from Jabari, and it's like you can do demos. It's like a small producer set, and I guess it goes a so-called dinner date. She ends up asking Grace because I think, you know, I think that their parents were on their way to go visit Clarissa and Jacob at their home for a dinner. Around, I think, the same time that Sophia and Zora go to this debutante dinner. And then they go over there because, like I said, they trying to find out what is going on in terms of like why Jacob really left that church. Okay, so they went ahead and had dinner. Charity thought she was gonna really get a full kiss, and he kissed her on the cheek. So she's sitting here thinking she was just go get her, because like I said, she was Grace convinced her to watch I think the little boy's name is Nathan, the baby, and she has Rick Fox over, and that's when they talk, and she discovers about he did do an interview with the former choir director and stuff, and you know, he was letting her know, like, I thought we were supposed to have off the record, unless we're supposed to change like what I'm, you know, doing and stuff. And then you got to the point where he's like, you know what, this is not going, we probably should just stop doing this. This ain't working well and stuff. And, you know, like, Grace has her own complaint too, even down to, like, why did he stop going to church or whatever, right? And he kind of leaves that alone as well. Okay? So, he basically, you know, kind of, like, leaves out whatever. But like I said, Charity really thought that it was going to be something. She comes in, which is very rare that her and Grace seem to be starting to have more of a sister relationship. And having a bond more so. And she tells her she even tried to pretend like she wasn't hungry at the restaurant, because she even eaten, you know, a full plate that I guess Grace, you know, had got or cooked or whatever, that was on her date when she was babysitting the baby, when the baby was still chilling and sleeping, okay? Night for the night, okay? So she basically said, like, all I got was a cheek kiss and everything. But again, you know, where's Kevin? Where is that? Do we gotta do like a Where Waddle search? Where is Kevin? There was also another scene where Grace was looking through the pamphlets. I mean, looking through the stuff, and she knows, of course, the program that, of course, he was going to the so-called counseling that basically be having you taking castor oil and stuff every time you have an urge or attraction to say that they're supposed to help, you know, basically get it out your body. But I think it's supposed to make you, you know, do it that way as opposed to the other end, but, you know, take something. And she informs her dad about, like, this this situation. Like, they have these programs and stuff, but to a certain point, it's like her dad, you could tell, is thinking about, like, okay, it's God's timing. And you could tell based on the conversation, he's not comfortable with possibly, he don't know if it's the right timing or whatever. I honestly took it as he's not comfortable with, agreeing with saying that it's okay to have people who are homosexual in the church, praise to have a sermon and praise that whatever, And so he's like, you know what, I have to think about it. I really have to think about it. But when Pastor Billy D. Williams up the James always looks down like this, and does the like this, he's really that. But to make a long story short, that's pretty much what he was giving us. He basically isn't really concerned to a certain point about changing for those kind of like, or being one of those churches that come as you are regardless. Even though, as it said, and it always be stating, God can judge. It's kind of like you're also, he is not one of those people, I don't think, that has really any intention of having that being in the church, or you keep it a secret to yourself, basically. But he's not going to be one trying to sit here and stop or think, trying to come up with a resolution to be like, okay, I'm going to focus on saying that this is all right, or come on as you are and have a sermon about it. Okay. So that kind of is just left alone. But like I said, Grace was trying her best to try to get her dad, like on board as far as changing these circumstances with this, topic. So we don't know if that's ever going to be brought up again. But like I said, so the family's up there, they talking to Carissa, the mom and dad, Lady Mae, and they having dinner, and they were just trying to ask about, so how everything's going, how's work, okay, why did you really leave Skanks, and whatever. And what happened is they just kind of make it seem like, oh, we just left on his terms, we paid him a certain amount of money, and we're able to get this house and blah blah blah, he just went to separate, and that's it. Okay, yeah, okay. Does y'all like the biscuits? It pretty much just was left that certain way. And before they were about to leave out, Clarissa Explains It All was about to ask Pastor Billy D. Williams James that about the rewiring, and Jacob like, cut that out right there. We ain't got time for that. And even I think Lady Mae was like, why is she not allowed to say anything? And he, kind of just left it alone, and they just like, okay, well, God bless, y'all have a good night. And Carissa, Jake was like, why did you do that? And here Carissa's like, I'm looking out for my family. I'm tired of this, tired of being in the dark, and blah, 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 and disrespecting you. Why, basically like, why can't she ask for help, basically? And, Jacob is like, God will provide when it's supposed to be at time, and basically have patience. And he's like this, you did this all to me when I was creeping for years. Did he say creeping for years, y'all? If y'all watched the episode, I could have sworn he said he's been creeping for years, okay? So was it just the secretary, which was already bad enough with the former secretary of the cavalry, or was it other women as well too, But he was like, basically giving him a chance that he doesn't want to keep being disrespected, like, not being considered the man of the house. And basically he was like, telling Carissa's Explains It All, like, also you need to worry about your daughter and talk to her as well too, because she needs you to talk to her and give some my bad, y'all. So anyways, going back to the part where Jacob basically put his foot down to Clarissa Explains It All. We have was the last scene where Carissa actually pays a visit, I think, to Calvary Church, and to confess about basically Skanks owning like $250,000, even though they helped paid off a certain amount that was owed. So basically she let the cat out the bag and out the house too, because she went ahead and was like, okay, let Jacob have that moment when he was talking to her and venting about, this is what is going to happen, but then turns around and tells them about it. So I think they're, come up with a plan about something, because they're just like, oh, this definitely has to be stopped, because they're using this information. They're like, well, can you prove that this happened? And she's like, yeah, I can prove, because they're against Skanks, okay? And Skanks, you know, has it out to them to a certain degree. You know, they tired of figuring like they used, you know, Jacob was used in his plot, whatever. And now they looking like, oh, we can get this done. We can have us taken down. But I wonder how that's going to affect home with Jacob in their loveless marriage as is. Okay. So they might actually like Carissa Spain off for a moment since she's coming to them with this information. Okay. And the second to last scene had where there is Rick Silver Fox calls Grace, and he's like, "You got a minute, blah blah blah. I'm sorry, please." So he's outside the house. So he comes to visit, and he vents to her about the reason why he stopped going to church. And he stopped going to church because he used to go to church all the time, and him and his wife got T-boned in an accident, car accident, and unfortunately she was killed in an accident, I think. And yeah, and he went to the pastor or over the church or whatever and asked, like, you know, basically, you know, how to basically go through or how to deal with after, you know, this tragedy, loss of his wife. And the pastor was just like, you know, just pray about it. And, you know, that's how he's vented. So I guess, you know, they may be deciding to still continue on where to go from there from the relationship, even though Grace should still keep one eye open, if you know what I mean, to that. But that's pretty much the end of the episode as far as if I got anything or forgot anything, sorry y'all. But you know, also check out Random Reviews TV. They also do that. Lynette and Stanley, my YouTube cousins. Ashley Miller also does Greenleaf Reviews. I think Jane Coswell also does Greenleaf Reviews. I don't know if Mike B does them, but I mean, I think he used to. But I mean, still check them out. I don't know who else is top of my head that also does the reviews. I think Marcus Williams. No, I don't think my cousin Marcus Williams on here does that as well. But yeah, y'all. But it's also a good question at the end where people would like, if you've been in a tragic situation, you know, how do you deal with something tragic happens? And the suggestion is just pray about it. And do you think like, you know, of course, fake people's faith has been tested, but have you ever been like where it seems like things continues to keep going wrong, or some loved one has been lost? How do you go about still praying and having faith or not losing your faith? You know, when things go on or seem like nothing's changing for the better. And, you know, how do you go about, say, if someone wants to ask you something happened, blah, 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 how do I deal with this? Or maybe they've been to you, came to you, maybe has a similar situation such as them, and they ask you, well, how you gonna be about it? And you have to tell, it's like in a way, you still have to be careful about how you word it. Because it's just like saying, like, you know, oh yes, you're supposed to have faith in God, Allah, or whatever name you will call him, or whatever your beliefs are, and be like, well, just pray about it. That's how it goes. Sometimes things happen. So, well, that's still the way you word it can get people to be like, really? So, and kind of turn them away from that. I mean, still it's up to the individual, but you also is the way you present yourself. You know what I mean? Okay, that's a whole nother topic, whatever. But I'm just saying, how would y'all, if y'all feel like even answer the question, you know, how if someone came up to you, or if you are going through something, for example, we all got, of course, the Hurricane Harvey situation and certain other situations that just happen every day in our lives. And so how would y'all feel about, you know, what to do is as far as that? Of course, you keep your faith in everything, but keep your faith in everything, but it's just, you know, it ain't easy where you're just going to be like this, and everything goes away, especially if you lost somebody or something, or you your life changes, or something in a drastic turn where it's now you got to start all over again. You know what I mean? It's just, oh gosh, that's such a complex issue. But I can understand his frustration as far as the church, or probably just now doing that, and because it is like, yeah, still you're supposed to keep him first, but it's just also the way that people can be worried about them think about, okay, so I'm just supposed to pray about it 1 second and then just act like this stuff doesn't happen to me or doesn't make me angry, doesn't make me upset, and how I go over from there. And also it's the healing process, whatever you're going through, or situations with a plural. So I'm sorry, y'all, I don't mean to be rambling and stuff about that, but you know what I mean. But anyway, y'all, hugs and loves, and I definitely see y'all in the next video. And let's make a petition to see where Kevin is at. Is he going to appear? And based on the previews, again, there was nothing, I don't think, that indicated. I don't think they really showed any previews, or I don't remember them. But again, I don't see when the heck is Kevin coming back to act like he just left, you know, left a note on the table and just kept going and hasn't came back yet. I was hard, like, okay, he was one of the main characters and stuff. Even Grace was talking about that, like, you know, even though he had issues, he was coming to the church and everything, and then you go into these meetings and sitting here having to take castor oil and stuff, mineral oil and all this other stuff, and you got those, yeah, like I said, y'all. See y'all next one. Take care.